When the winter storm knocked down a large branch, I noticed that my neighbor Bruce's garage roof was leaning against my roof. When I called a roofer, he said, "This garage is taking support from your roof. It's not legal." When I talked to Bruce, he said, "The garage was built this way. There was never a problem." As a 44-year-old retired teacher, I pay attention to details. What Bruce didn't know was the structural inspection report that the insurance company had done when I bought this house. That report stated that Bruce's garage was illegally leaning on my property without permission. Now I had to take the necessary steps. My name is Andrew Peterson. I live in the suburbs of Minneapolis, Minnesota. After teaching high school mathematics for 20 years, I retired last year. I bought this house 5 years ago. It was a 2-story, traditional American-style house. It had a large front yard and backyard. The neighborhood was quiet and peaceful. My neighbor Bruce Williams was around 60 years old, a retired mechanic. He had been living in the house next door for 15 years. He built his garage 8 years ago. At that time, I hadn't moved to this neighborhood yet. Bruce was usually quiet and kept to himself. We would occasionally greet each other and talk about the weather, but we didn't communicate much. The winter storm that hit Minnesota last week was very severe. The wind reached speeds of 80 kilometers per hour. Snow and ice precipitation was also very heavy. The storm lasted 3 days. Power went out. Roads were closed, trees fell down. After the storm passed, when I went out to my garden, I saw that a large tree branch had fallen on my garage roof. The branch was very large and had caused damage to the roof. I needed to call a roof repairman immediately because rain and snow could seep from the roof into the house. I found Mountain View Roofing Company in the local directory. When I called, they said they were available. They would come that afternoon. The company owner, Jim Rodriguez, was a 45-year-old experienced craftsman. He had been doing roofing work for 20 years. When Jim came, he first examined the damage. The fallen branch had collapsed part of the roof. Roof tiles were broken. Insulation material was visible. Water leakage hadn't started yet, but could start soon. Jim set up a ladder and climbed onto the roof. He did an inspection for about 10 minutes. Then he came down and approached me. "Andrew, there's an interesting situation here," said Jim. "The fallen branch didn't just damage your roof. It also affected your neighbor's garage roof. But part of your neighbor's garage is leaning against your roof. This isn't normal." I didn't understand what he meant. Jim explained. Garages usually sit on their own foundations and have their own roof systems. But this garage's roof is taking support from your house's roof. This isn't a legal situation. A structure cannot take unauthorized support from another structure. This was very interesting. I had never carefully examined Bruce's garage before. I just thought it was a normal garage. Jim continued. "In this situation, you need to talk to your neighbor before making repairs, because the part supporting the garage roof belongs to your property." I thanked Jim and told him to come back tomorrow, that today he would only take emergency measures. He put a temporary cover on the roof so rain wouldn't seep in. After Jim left, I knocked on Bruce's door. When he opened it, he looked a bit surprised. "Hello, Bruce. My roof was damaged after the storm." The roofer came and said something interesting. "What did he say?" asked Bruce. "He said your garage roof is leaning against my roof. Is this a normal situation?" Bruce shrugged. "The garage was built this way, Andrew. There's been no problem for 8 years. Why should there be a problem now?" But the roofer said this wasn't legal. A structure can't take unauthorized support from another structure. Bruce seemed a bit uncomfortable. Andrew, the garage has been like this for a very long time. I didn't change anything. If it were illegal, the city inspector would have noticed. Maybe you're right, Bruce. But I need to investigate the situation. We need to solve this issue while doing the roof repair. Bruce nodded. Sure, let's do whatever is necessary. But I don't see any problem with the garage. When I returned home, I started researching this topic. I gathered information about local regulations and building codes on the internet. According to Minnesota state laws, every structure had to stand on its own foundation and not damage neighboring properties. Then I decided to examine the documents I received when buying the house. In the basement file cabinet, there were purchase documents, sales contract, property records, insurance policy, and other documents. Among the files, I found the structural inspection report prepared by Midwest Property Inspection Company. This report was requested by the insurance company when I bought the house. The report was very detailed. It examined every part of the house and indicated possible problems. When I started reading the report, I saw a section about neighboring properties. The report stated, "The garage structure located on the neighboring property is leaning against this property's roof system and taking unauthorized support. This situation violates local regulations and may create legal problems in the future. It is recommended that the homeowner discuss this situation with the neighbor." The report was very clear. Bruce's garage was indeed leaning against my roof without permission, and this situation was known 5 years ago. But at that time, I hadn't paid attention to this issue. There were many technical details in the report, and I had skipped this part. Now I had to think about what to do. I could talk to Bruce again and explain the situation. Maybe we could find a solution together. But I wasn't very hopeful about Bruce's reaction. Early the next morning, I went to the local city hall. I applied to the building and housing department. The clerk Sarah Chan there took care of me. I explained the situation to Sarah. I also showed the insurance inspection report. Sarah examined the report and checked the building permit records for the neighboring property on her computer. "Andrew, there really is a problem here," said Sarah. "A permit was obtained for Bruce Williams's garage in 2016, but the permit states that the garage is an independent structure. No permission was given to lien on the neighboring property. So what can I do now?" I asked. "First, you should talk to your neighbor. Explain the situation and ask him to fix it voluntarily. If he doesn't agree, you can file an official complaint." Sarah gave me a brochure about property disputes with neighbors. I read the brochure at home. It explained what homeowners who encountered similar situations could do. In the afternoon, I knocked on Bruce's door again. This time I went with the insurance report in hand. "Bruce, I researched the topic we discussed yesterday. I found the report prepared by the insurance company." I showed the report to Bruce. After reading the relevant part, Bruce frowned. "When was this report prepared?" he asked. 5 years ago. The insurance company had it done when I bought the house." Bruce nodded. "Andrew, I built that garage 8 years ago. Nobody said anything at that time. The city gave a permit. An inspector came and approved it. But I checked with the city, Bruce. The permit states that the garage is an independent structure. No permission was given to lien on the neighboring property." Bruce thought for a moment. Then he spoke. "Andrew, I didn't build the garage myself. A professional contractor did it. If there's a mistake, it's his mistake." "Who was the contractor?" I asked. City Construction Company. But the company owner retired last year. The company is closed now. This situation made things more difficult. The contractor was no longer available. Bruce also claimed he was unaware of the situation. Bruce, how do you want to solve this situation? I asked. Frankly, Andrew, I don't want to make any changes to the garage. I spent a lot of money. Rebuilding now would be very expensive. But the current situation is illegal, Bruce. And my roof was damaged. I need to solve this problem while making repairs. Bruce remained silent. Then he spoke. Andrew, your roof was already damaged by the storm. It has nothing to do with the garage. Repair your roof. Don't mess with the garage. This approach bothered me. Bruce didn't understand the seriousness of the situation. Or he didn't want to understand. Bruce, this issue isn't just about roof repair. Your garage is using my property without permission. This situation needs to be corrected. Bruce's facial expression changed. He looked a bit angry. Andrew, I've been living here for 15 years. You came 5 years ago. The garage has been here for 8 years. There was never a problem. Now you come and create a problem. This wasn't fair. I wasn't creating a problem. The problem already existed. I just noticed it. Bruce, I'm not creating a problem. The problem already exists. The insurance report detected this 5 years ago. We just didn't notice. Bruce stepped toward the door. Andrew, I don't want to talk anymore. I'll talk to my lawyer. You talk to your lawyer too. He closed the door and went inside. The conversation ended like this. When I returned home, I started looking for a lawyer. I needed to find someone specialized in real estate law. I found Johnson & Amp, associates law firm, on the internet. They were experienced in real estate disputes. The next day, I made an appointment with lawyer Lisa Johnson. I told her the whole situation. I explained the insurance report, city records, and my conversations with Bruce. After Lisa evaluated the situation, she spoke. Andrew, it's clear that you are legally right. Your neighbor's garage is using your property without permission. This is called encroachment. What can I do? I asked. First, we can send an official warning letter to your neighbor. We can give him a reasonable time to correct the situation. If he doesn't agree, we can go to court. How long does the court process take? It varies depending on the situation, but usually between 6 months and a year. The court can decide to remove or modify the garage. What would the cost be? Attorney fees are between $5,000 and $10,000. But if you win, you can claim these costs from the other party. I told Lisa I wanted to proceed with the case. We decided to send an official warning letter to Bruce. The letter was sent the following week. Bruce was notified that he needed to correct the situation within 15 days. Otherwise, court proceedings would be initiated. 2 weeks later, a response came from Bruce's lawyer. The letter from Martinez law firm stated that Bruce claimed the garage was legal. It also stated that the garage might have acquired prescriptive easement or statute of limitations rights. Lisa evaluated this response. Prescriptive easement means your neighbor may have acquired legal rights due to using the garage for a long time. But this defense usually isn't successful because the use was illegal from the beginning. We started the court process. A lawsuit petition was prepared and submitted to the court. Bruce also filed a response petition. The first hearing was scheduled for 3 months later. During this time, both sides collected their evidence. We presented the insurance report, city records, and photographs. Bruce tried to document that the garage was permitted and had never received complaints. The hearing day took place at Hennepin County Court. Judge William Thompson presided over the case. Lawyers from both sides presented their arguments. Lisa summarized our case as follows. Client Andrew Peterson's property is being illegally encroached upon by the neighbor. This situation is documented by the insurance report. There is no such permission in the city permit. The encroachment must be removed. Bruce's lawyer Martinez defended as follows. The garage has been in its current condition for 8 years. No complaints have been received. The client built the garage legally. Statute of limitations rights are in question. The judge examined the evidence from both sides. He evaluated the insurance report, city records, and photographs. 2 weeks later, the judge announced his decision. The court ruled in favor of Andrew Peterson. It was determined that Bruce Williams's garage illegally encroached on the neighboring property. It was decided that the garage needed to be corrected within 6 months. Additionally, the court ruled that Bruce should also cover Andrew's attorney fees. A total of $7,500 in costs was charged to Bruce. After the decision was finalized, I talked to Bruce. Now he had to modify the garage. Andrew, I'm thinking of appealing the court decision, said Bruce. That's your right, Bruce. But the appeal process means more costs, and your chances of winning are low. Bruce thought. Then he spoke. I don't know how to modify the garage. It will be very expensive. We can go to the city and discuss. Maybe there are more economical solutions. At the City Hall, architect Bob Chan met with us. He said the garage didn't need to be completely demolished, only the roof part needed to be changed. According to the plan Bob drew, the garage roof would be converted to an independent system. The cost was approximately $12,000. It was much cheaper than completely rebuilding. Bruce accepted this solution. He had the necessary changes made within 3 months. The garage now had its own roof system and wasn't leaning on my property. I also completed my roof repair. Jim Rodriguez's company did excellent work. The roof was rebuilt from scratch, and there was no more water leakage problem. This experience taught me a lot. I understood how important structural inspection reports are when buying real estate. If I had read that report carefully, I could have noticed this problem earlier. I also saw how sensitive neighbor relationships can be. Bruce initially didn't want to cooperate, but eventually sought solutions when faced with legal obligation. The court process was stressful and costly, but justice was finally served. Bruce's garage was now in legal condition and wasn't using my property without permission. My relationship with Bruce was initially tense, but returned to normal over time. He also understood that the situation wasn't legal and was pleased that we found a solution. Now we both act more carefully. Before doing any construction work, we inform each other. We check boundaries. We take precautions to prevent such problems from happening again. Finally, I understood the importance of homeowners regularly checking their properties. Sometimes problems with neighbors can go unnoticed for years, but sooner or later they surface and need to be resolved. This story also reminded me of the importance of justice. Sometimes we need to fight to protect our rights. The court process can be difficult, but in the end, what's right prevails.